Welcome to episode 18 of Win the Day, and today's episode is titled The Ultimate Holiday Gift Guide for 2019. That's right, I'm going to be sharing with you my very best tips for the gifts that you can give to make sure the recipient has a very big smile on their face when they open it. The quote for today's episode is an Apache proverb and says, "It is better to have less thunder in the mouth and more lightning in the hand." It is better to have less thunder in the mouth and more lightning in the hand. Think about what most people do each holiday season. Typically, they squander gifts on people that have little long-term value. But I'd like to suggest that you consider giving something practical, something to help get the recipient excited about taking ownership of their future, something that has long-term value. So what's the best way to do that? Books. I don't think you can get more bang for your buck from any gift than you can with books. Aside from allowing us to delve into the minds of the most accomplished people and most inspiring and innovative people on the planet, books are a great gift because they sit there staring back at us, providing gentle prompts, imaginative thought, and unprecedented motivation when we need it most. In fact, most of the people that I interviewed for Think and Grow Rich, The Legacy, said to me that just staring at the cover of Napoleon Hill's blockbuster Think and Grow Rich, just staring at the cover made them feel better and more confident about themselves and where they were going. And I've also been really enjoying audiobooks lately. Recently, a friend of mine said that he'd been really enjoying audiobooks because he could listen to them at 1.5 times the speed. And I thought, well, that just seems really, really weird, right? But then I started listening to Audible more and more, and gradually the speed got up. You start with 1.25 times, which the first time you do that seems crazy. But after a few minutes of listening, all of a sudden it seems to become normal. And sure enough, just 2 or 3 days later, after I started fast forwarding these recordings or adjusting the playback speed, I was listening to these titles at 1.5 times the speed, and it felt totally comfortable and totally normal as well. For any books that I really enjoy, I also make sure to go and get a hard copy version as well, because the one downside about listening to audiobooks is that you can't sit there and highlight passages as you go along, but you can make notes and you can go back and revisit those chapters and certain lines as well if you have a hard copy version of that book as well. And another thing about audiobooks is you can sit there and listen to them with someone else. So my wife and I have been enjoying listening to audiobooks while we've got our daughter sleeping in the back of the car as well. And it's been just a great way that we can switch off. And it's also something very, very peaceful. Now, without further ado, I'm going to share with you now my favorite books of 2019, my favorite books that I have read in the last 12 months. And stay tuned until the very end, because I'm going to share with you one gift that I promise will make you very popular with the recipient, and it may just change your life. Number one, the best book for entrepreneurs. The best book for entrepreneurs that I recommend is Driven. Now, this is a book by Dr. Doug Brackmann, Driven, Understanding and Harnessing Genetic Gifts. I had two friends of mine in town earlier in the year. I had Rochelle and Ronsley in town from Australia, and they were filming podcasts for their new show, The Psychology of Entrepreneurs. So we traveled down to San Diego through Orange County, and I had the opportunity to sit in on Ronsley's interview with Dr. Doug Brackmann, and it was incredible. I was immediately hit by Dr. Doug's incredible energy. And the guy has 2 PhDs, not one, but 2 PhDs. So believe me, he knows exactly what he's talking about when it comes to psychology. This is the best book that I have read in 2019, and I've just literally purchased a copy for all my clients around the world. I'm even sending out even more copies today as well. Here are some if you don't believe me. So for the people who are entrepreneurial focused, this is a phenomenal read. Because Brackmann argues that 10% of the population possess a certain DNA that makes them feel like something is wrong with them, leading to anxiety, shame, and negative self-talk that can create a hellish existence for those people. Now, he calls this group Driven. Yet through his research and work with some of the highest performers of the planet, everyone from Navy SEALs to pro athletes and business leaders, Brackmann has discovered how the driven can harness that energy rather than it being something that breaks them down. If they have the right blueprint, they can harness that energy into constructive means that enables them to reach their highest potential. Now, if you're an entrepreneur or if you're looking at buying a gift for an entrepreneur, you cannot go wrong with this book. It's available on Amazon, as all of these books are, and I've never read something that struck at the heart of who I was quicker and more deeply than this book, while at the same time giving practical tips to improve day by day. So that's book number 1, Driven by Dr. Doug Brackmann. Book number 2, The Best for Mindset. Now, the book that I recommend that would be the best for mindset that I've read in the last 12 months is actually a book called Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck. Its official title is Mindset, the New Psychology of Success. Now, if you're listening to the podcast or watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to get access to the links where you can go and grab these books and learn more about them in the show notes. Now, Carol Dweck is one of my biggest inspirations, and this book, Mindset, talks about what sets champions in any field apart from the rest, and it's the growth mindset. Dweck contrasts those who have a growth mindset with those who have a fixed mindset, and it typically comes down to one simple focus: how these people respond to adversity when it inevitably strikes. Those with a growth mindset embrace challenge and they recognize mastery as a journey of self-effort, whereas those with a fixed mindset avoid challenge and they give up easily. Now, I also wanted to share with you a few of my favorite quotes from Mindset to give you a bit of an idea of what it talks about. The first quote: people in a growth mindset don't just seek challenge, they thrive on it. The bigger the challenge, the more they stretch. Quote number 2, the view you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you live your life. And number 3, if parents want to give their children a gift, the best thing they can do is teach their children to love challenges, be intrigued by mistakes, enjoy effort, seek new strategies, and keep on learning. That way, their children don't have to be slaves of praise. They will have a lifelong way to build and repair their own confidence. Phenomenal lesson for entrepreneurs, for parents, that final quote there. Dweck shows how people of all ages, not just children, how people of all ages can cultivate a growth mindset while giving examples of well-known athletes and well-known business leaders to keep readers engaged and illustrate those points. So that's number 2. The best book for mindset is Mindset by Carol Dweck. Number 3, the best book for empowerment. And that book is actually Educated by Tara Westover, which was a gift to me by my client in Portugal. She knows who she is, so thank you very much for giving that to me. I finished this book in about 10 days. I enjoyed it that much. Now, this is a memoir. It was written by Tara with phenomenal detail that describes her true and unique upbringing by uncompromising survivalists in the mountains of Idaho. Working in her father's junkyard, Tara was never allowed to go to school. She was never allowed to visit a doctor. And through this book, she recounts her volatile and at times abusive family life, where she was the youngest of 7 children. Now, this is extraordinary enough, a lot of the stories and events that she describes up until that point, but her journey from when she first stepped into the classroom at age 17 to eventually earning a doctorate at the University of Cambridge in the UK is absolutely fascinating, and it really ties it all in together. So it makes for gripping reading. In particular, if you are a female struggling to find your place in the world, or you're struggling to find your voice, or you know of someone in that situation, this book is a must read. It spent more than 1 year on the New York Times bestseller list and has now been translated into more than 30 languages. I wanted to quickly share with you one of my favorite quotes from the book. My life was narrated for me by others. Their voices were forceful, emphatic, absolute. It had never occurred to me that my voice might be as strong as theirs. Wow, powerful stuff, and I think we can all relate to that quote. There's plenty of amazing little tips and things like that in there as well through this true story. Also, if you're an aspiring writer and you want to see what brilliant writing looks like, you'll find that in this book, Educated, even from the first page. It makes for phenomenal reading. So I was given the hardcover version of that book and went and got the Audible version as well, so my wife and I could listen together. That's number 3, the best book for empowerment, Educated by Tara Westover. Number 4, the best book for gratitude is The 5-Minute Journal by Intelligent Change. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen how often I post these as daily stories. A huge percentage of CEOs have spoken about the importance of daily gratitude and journaling rather for our mental well-being. Yet staring at a blank page can often feel very daunting. The 5-minute journal provides a useful structure to start and finish the day in the right mindset. You wake up and you write down 3 things that you're grateful for and 3 things that would make today a win, and then you write down a positive affirmation, and then before you go to bed you write down 3 things that happened that day, 3 amazing things that happened that day, and you write down what you could have done to improve the day. Now, you hear me constantly talk about winning the day, and the best way to win the day is to know what actions you're going to take on any given day and how they relate to your long-term mission. And this book gives you a forum to be able to do just that. To me, it's been truly life-changing. It's actually the book that I gift the most. If you want an introduction to gratitude, this is the best place to be. A lot of people ask me what book it is that I keep posting on Instagram, so now you know. It is indeed the 5-minute journal. So that's the best book for gratitude, number 4 on our list. Number 5, the best book for parenting. Well, let me first paraphrase this and say that you cannot go wrong with the Carol Dweck book Mindset. I think that is the best book for parenting that I've actually ever read. But if you want another option, this book is called Letters from a Self-Made Merchant to His Son by George Horace Lorimer. Now, this is the only book on the whole list that has entered the public domain, which means its copyright is no longer valid, which means that it is available to go and download for free in any format that you want online. So I've got a link of where you can go and do that. But that also means that it's probably not going to make a great gift, because you don't really want to send someone a website link as a gift, so perhaps it's something better as a gift for yourself. This book was originally published in 1901, and it contains letters from a successful business owner to his son, who was just starting university at the time. Given it was written more than a century ago, almost 120 years ago, it's told in a language of a foregone era, but it contains some absolutely timeless and phenomenal quotes. And I wanted to share a few of those quotes with you right here. The first one: you've got to get up every morning with determination if you're going to go to bed with satisfaction. Gee, that's just a powerful quote. I love that one. The second: the easiest way in the world to make enemies is to hire friends. The easiest way in the world to make enemies is to hire friends. So if you're thinking of working for a friend or thinking of hiring a friend, maybe make sure you've got all that stuff figured out beforehand. And experience has taught me there are some friendships that are just too good to risk going into business with the other person. And the third quote I wanted to share here is, with most people, happiness is something that is always just one day off. But I have made it a rule never to put off being happy till tomorrow. Don't accept notes for happiness, because you'll find that when they're due, they're never paid. They're just renewed for another 30 days. Powerful quote there, talking about how people put aside happiness as something for the future rather than looking at being happy in the present, whatever it may bring. This is the book that that inspired me to start writing an annual letter to my daughter, which I actually started in December 2018. So the due date for Sophie was April. She ended up being born a few weeks late on the 1st of May. And what I wanted to do with this annual letter, which I'm now going to also turn into a video every year as well, is it enables me to talk about the journey that we're going on as a family. It's the journey that I'm going on as a father and a husband. It's the journey that my wife is going on. And it also enables me to show Sophie just how amazing her mother has been through the whole pregnancy, and how she goes through 100 times more things than I and any other dads ever go through as well. And of course, as she grows up, we're going to have disagreements and other arguments. I'm sure we'll have many of them. But this is an opportunity that completely puts aside emotion, that she can revisit these letters, she can watch these videos, and she will know that we love her unconditionally, regardless of the tension in that moment. So this is the book that inspired me to do those letters, and it's something that I really get excited about doing, and I'll be doing actually next week for this year for Sophie. So that's book number 5. Number 6, the best for motivation. This is Think and Grow Rich, the Legacy, and I wanted to share this with you because a lot of people ask me where they can get a signed copy of Think and Grow Rich, the Legacy. So if you want this for yourself or as a gift for someone else, if you want a signed version, just email us at info@jameswhitt.com and we'll be able to send you out a signed copy. Unfortunately, that's only available in Australia and the US, but if you want a copy that's not signed, or if you want the audiobook version or the ebook version, they're all available on Amazon Amazon and Audible and everywhere else that you can buy books. But if you want a signed version, send us an email. If you want it to arrive before Christmas, just please remember to do that 2 weeks before the Christmas date as well. Now, writing this book has been the greatest joy of my life, the greatest honor of my life, and I still get emails from people all over the world who said that they loved it so much. They sat down as a family and they would read one story at a time with their family, and they would figure out what they learned from that with their children. And the thing that I love about that is this book is really a collection of short stories. It can inspire people of all ages because it shows more than 24 of these really extraordinary people, who they were beforehand, what formula that they used to become a success, and how did they define success into the life they live now, and what they want to do to give back to themselves, their family, and their communities to help illuminate the spirit of the world to make it a better place. So that's Think and Grow Rich, The Legacy. It's a modern companion to Think and Grow Rich, the best-selling self-help book of all time. So you can go and check that out. That's book number 6. And the final gift that I wanted to share with you, the final gift idea, number 7, the best gift idea or the best accompaniment for any book is actually a handwritten card or a letter from you to acknowledge the recipient for all the loving and selfless actions that they have taken to brighten the world and illuminate your spirit. Now, writing letters and writing cards like this has really become a lost art, but that just means it's an opportunity for you to make more of an impact with someone else. I still remember letters and cards that I've received from people more than 10 years ago. So I promise you that it is an opportunity for you to make an impression more powerful and more timeless than you ever thought possible. So that's number 7. The best gift or gift accompaniment for everyone is a handwritten letter from you from the heart. Well, that's it for episode 18. I proudly recommend all these books and know they would be a welcome gift in any stocking. This holiday season, give your friends and loved ones the inspiration and the ability to help themselves. If you're enjoying the show, I would greatly appreciate it if you could go on whatever forum you're on, whether it's a podcast or on YouTube, and hit the like button or give it a 5-star rating to help other people find the show. Now, I wish you and your family an incredible end to 2019. I've got some exciting news to share with you in early January to help you make 2020 your best year yet, so stay tuned for that. Remember to get out there and win the day. Until next time, onwards and upwards, always.